Awesome. So just wondering, what team am I talking to right now?
So we are Team Infineon.
Infineon. Who's Infineon?
Infineon is one of the world's largest manufacturers of semiconductors. They do a lot of power electronics. They are a company that is based in Germany, but they are a large, very international company.
Awesome, that's really great to hear. You want to start that over again? Yeah.
Yeah, if we get that again, just when you give your responses, if you can just look at that.
I'm
Sorry, I forgot to do that.
No, you're fine.
I'm so sorry. I normally always say that. Just we're having a conversation with me because we have the angle of the light. You're all good. I love the response. All right, now let's act like we're actors and we can just reset. All right, now so I was just wondering what team I'm talking to.
So we are Team Infineon.
Infineon. Now, for those who haven't heard of Infineon, can anybody describe what the company's function or what they provide?
So Infineon is one of the world leaders in semiconductor manufacturing. They are actually based in Bavaria, Germany, but they are a very, very large international company.
Awesome. So they sponsored a project that you guys completed, and what'd you guys place?
We placed 5th.
Awesome. You know, out of 22 teams, that is incredible. That's great. Can somebody just quickly maybe go over your guys' project?
Yeah, so we were tasked with designing an interface to control the SPEC tester system. So what that is a rack of 60 sites, and each site has a voltage converter, and that's what's being stress tested. So they had no way to basically monitor or control any things that was on there. So they tasked us with controlling things like the thermals, eventually create like a fault management system, even control the dynamic load on there to set the load current.
So this is basically just a giant stress testing rack, and you guys made something that can interface with all of it and know exactly what's going on.
Yes.
That sounds like a huge task. And you've done this, you've completed the project?
Yes, we have.
Wow, in 1 year, that's incredible. Were there any notable challenges that you guys faced when you were completing this?
Yeah, so the graphical user interface was the biggest one of our challenges. That was basically interfacing the hardware and the software was kind of difficult and new to us, as we've had classes in both software and hardware, but not very many that interface the both of them together. So that was a big learning experience for us, something that we enjoyed working on, learning, a big challenge. And also just some of the peripheral devices that we worked on, including the electronic load, was a little bit difficult to communicate with. So just the different forms of communication that we had to learn about and work on were a bit of a challenge for us.
I mean, if it wasn't a challenge, I wouldn't be impressed by you guys placing 5th. So you guys would say that in general you've learned a lot of skills that maybe you hadn't had before?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think one really big skill, and I think this is important even though it's not a highly technical skill, up until this point, all of our team experiences have really been in lab, and a lot of those lab assignments could be done by one person. It's not absolutely imperative that multiple people work on the assignment. For me, at least, this was my first real experience where I had a project and I couldn't just do it all by myself. A really important thing that I learned through this experience was how to delegate tasks and work with other people in a situation where it was absolutely necessary to work with other people.
Yeah, awesome. No, I think that's a really great skill and something that you do see in industry. As much as we like to think we can accomplish it all, sometimes it is larger than a single person, and being able to work with a team of students, it's great. And not only that, it's your last year, you're graduating, so it's the perfect time to make that transition. Working with Infineon, you said they're located in Germany.
Yeah.
How did communication work?
So they actually have a local branch in Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And that's the one we particularly worked with.
Yeah.
They specialize in power, and that's where the project came from and was made.
Awesome. I think this is a continuation of a previous year's project,
Yes,
right?
it is.
So you guys have picked up something that the other students have already done. Would you guys say you got to carry it forward, really push it forward and, see it through?
Yeah, so the last year's project didn't really get too far in the project. They had some ideas that they were working on, some different ways that they wanted to do it. And when we came in, we decided that while the goal was fairly similar, we decided to just start from scratch and create our own system that would accomplish the goals of the company.
I think
So-
that happens a lot of the time. You know, we scribble something out, we crumple up the paper, we throw it in the trash can and start over. Now, how is it working with a company compared to a professor? Is it something that you found a lot of benefit in? Was there anything specifically challenging?
I thought it's very different from working with a professor, because when you're with a professor, obviously the thing that they care about most is, are you learning? Do you understand the material? The actual outcome of what you're doing isn't nearly as important as your own process and development. With our technical directors and with a company, yes, they were very invested in our development as engineers, but also our final product was incredibly important, more so than what we've experienced just working with professors up until now.
So how does that impact feel, knowing that something that you guys started and finished is going to have a real impact for a company as large as Infineon?
Oh, it's
It's really,
incredible.
it's cool.
That's great to hear. Now, I asked a question of a couple other teams. I want to ask you guys. Let's say you got a freshman. Or actually, before that, he's trying to figure out what college to go to. You hear about the ELECOMP program as people have gone through it. Is that something you'd recommend, and why would you recommend it?
I would definitely recommend it to them, because just the learning experience alone, like you said, working with a real company is a completely different experience than you get in school. It's like working with professors and stuff, they're focused on, again, learning the material, but then working with someone in a professional business where it's like, this is how like a real job could work. You're given a task, you're working with a team to solve it with different skill sets, different deadlines, and it's like you have budgets, a lot more elements, and it's just a really big learning experience.
Well, that's awesome to hear, guys. Hey, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.